This is step 2 of how to sew a lined sling bag. In this example here, you can see with a pocket. And I'm also going to show you how to put a flap on it. So as we went through on the previous video, just to review, you need 2 tabs, 3 by 3, 2 pockets, 2 flaps, and 2 sling bag main body. And you need this for the outside, and then for the liner you simply need 2 pockets, 2 tabs, and a front and a back main body. In this example, this will be my liner. I've cut that out and I've pressed it. You can see here on the top I've pressed it. And I've also sewn my tabs on. I tacked them on the bottom here about 3/4 of an inch to an inch on the bottom. And I've also sewn my pocket. Here's an example of that. So I simply stitch 1/4 inch seam around the entire pocket. I do the same thing for my flap, 1/4 inch seam around my flap. Okay, so I've sewn the top of each of these, starting from this point here to the end. I leave this open, this 1/2 inch at the top, I leave that open, and you'll see why that is important. And I do that on all 4 of my fabric pieces. You can see I've done the same thing here and here. So now that I have that completed, and I have this completed as well on my liner, and I have it on my other 2 outside, the next thing, I have my pocket sewn. I need to sew the top. So what I first do is I turn it right side out, and I like to use a chopstick that's sharpened a little bit. I push this out so it's open, and then I will press it. Once I've pressed it, I will turn down the top part here, and I simply open it up here a little bit, the seam, and press it, finger press it open. And I turn this down about 1/4 inch or so. And I do this on both sides here, and I do this exact same method to do my flap. So both the pocket and the flap are done the same. Use the same technique. 1/4 inch stitch up the sides, and then the top is turned down about 1/4 of an inch, and I press this so it stays, and then we will top stitch the pocket and the flap as well. A little tricky here working with, but just take your time, and you can pin it and press it, or just press it and then pin it. So once I have that ready, and I like how it's lined up, otherwise I'll work with it a little bit to make sure it's lined up. Once it's pressed and in place, then I will go ahead and stitch it. Okay, and here I have an example. As you recall, I made this pocket a little longer so I could flip it down to make a little fancier top. So I top stitched it, and then I aligned it. I went ahead and lined it up where I wanted my pocket to go, and I pinned it in place. So it's about 3.5 or 4 inches from the bottom, and what I want to do is be sure it's below this fold line, maybe about an inch, and I tack it in place, and then I sew. And when I sew it, I start from here and go around and stitch it and stop here. And so I pinned it in place so it wouldn't move, and I did that. And it's so in this example you can see it's ready to go. I've also tacked on my flaps about 1 inch to 1/4 inch. I just tacked that on there, and I've done that on both of these, both the liner and the exterior. So in this case I will want it, I want it opposite colors. So after I sew this top, I'll stitch that in a minute, then I place this where I want the pocket, and again I want it up high enough when I put my flap it'll cover my pocket, and I put this in place, and then I'll stitch around that. And once I've done that, it'll look something like this, and I'm ready to sew the front and back together. So what I do is I place the two pieces together right at the connection there, and line it up like so. And right here you'll see I line it up right at that point, and I will go ahead and put a pin in there, and that's where I'm going to sew. I'm going to make my stitch starting from here and ending right from this point. This part is not to be sewn in this step. So in this example I've already started to stitch, so you can see I've done one seam down, and I will complete this by sewing around here and back up to this point. Once we've done that, we're pretty close. We'll turn it right side out, and I will show you what to do next. So let me take a moment to sew this, and I'll be back.